Hello, this is Chris with the Rewired Soul, and welcome to the Depression Hack series. I wanted to start off by making this introduction video to talk a little bit about depression, why we're doing this series, and what we can do to help you get out of that funk or get rid of depressive feelings. The first thing that I have to make very clear is that you're going to see a disclaimer like this on most of the videos, well, all of the videos. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor. Who I am is that I'm a guy who struggled with depression and with anxiety that turned into self-medicating with alcohol and drugs, and I became addicted for almost 10 years, and that just made everything a lot worse. You can find more about my story in the description below. I have a link to my book called Hope. I started off by taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications, but they were only doing so much for me. So I got very invested in finding out new ways that I could rewire my brain so I could figure out ways to overcome my depression and my anxiety. So what this video series is me sharing that information with you using scientific evidence to teach you how to rewire your brain. But this is not a replacement for therapy. If you need help, if you are having suicidal thoughts, you do need to go see a professional. These videos are for people with moderate depression, or they get into those depressive funks. So in the links below, you're also going to see some other information if you need help in your area. The first thing let's talk about is, what is depression? Do you have depression? Are you showing signs of depression? Now, what you need to understand is, to have clinical depression, you have to have symptoms for at least 2 or more weeks. So some of the symptoms of depression include a depressed mood, such as feeling sad or empty or constantly irritable, decreased interest or pleasure in all or almost all activities, significant and unintentional weight loss, weight gain, or decrease or increase in appetite, insomnia or increased desire to sleep, either restlessness or slowed behavior that can be observed by others, fatigue or loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt, trouble thinking, concentrating, or making decisions, recurrent thoughts of death or suicide. So these are what are listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. This is what doctors, therapists, psychiatrists use to diagnose different mental illnesses, and these are some of the symptoms of depression. Now, what this video series is going to be doing is that we're going to be talking about different systems in your brain and what's causing the depression, what's causing specific symptoms, and how to kind of jumpstart these different systems to rewire them to get you out of these depressive moods. Your brain has billions of these tiny little things called neurons, and these send electrical signals which then turn into chemical signals. These chemicals are what increase or decrease our depression. So what I'm going to be teaching you about is these different chemicals and different scientifically proven ways to actually increase the chemicals that will get you out of that depressive funk. Now, the first thing that I need you to do for me is make a commitment that you're not going to give up on this thing. You are not going to get better overnight. That is not how this thing works. We're going to be jump-starting these systems, and you're going to have to do this as a practice. So throughout these videos, throughout your journey of trying to get out of that depressive funk, you're gonna have that voice over here on this side of your head that's saying, just give up, just quit. And you need to turn and talk to that voice, not in public, but maybe in your head, and tell that voice to shut up, because you need to keep practicing. Let's talk about these little neurons and transmitters in your brain. They send electrical signals. So what depression is that the tuning of these things is off. All right, so what we're going to try to do, almost like we would a guitar, is that we're going to try to tune them to the proper sound waves or proper brain waves. There's a bunch of these things, and what you will see is that by jump-starting one small system, it begins to have a chain reaction. What we're trying to do is reverse the bad chain reaction that can happen. A version of a bad chain reaction is, let's say, we're feeling depressed and our friends invite us to go out and have some fun. We tell them no because we want to sit at home and isolate. So now that we're sitting at home and isolating, we start getting into our head, we start thinking, and then we start thinking about what our friends are thinking about us. Now we're wondering what our friends are saying about us. Now we start thinking that nobody likes us and nobody wants to be around us. Now we start thinking that we don't even have any friends. That is how depression works, and it starts lying to us and telling us these things, even though the reality of the situation is if our friends didn't like us or love us, they wouldn't have invited us in the first place. So what we're trying to do is reverse that and find the positive chain reactions to increase your mood and decrease the depression. So I'm going to teach you some different vocabulary words because throughout these videos, I'm going to be talking about these different chemicals in your brain that we're going to be working with. And each one of these chemicals or neurotransmitters has different responsibilities. First, there is serotonin. It improves willpower, motivation, and mood. Next is norepinephrine. It enhances thinking, focus, and dealing with stress. Then there's dopamine. It increases enjoyment and is necessary for changing bad habits. Oxytocin. It promotes feelings of trust, love, and connection and reduces anxiety. GABA. Increases feelings of relaxation and reduces anxiety. Melatonin. Enhances the quality of sleep. Endorphins. Provides pain relief and feelings of elation. Once we learn what these different chemicals do and how we can actually make those chemicals start to jumpstart, then we start getting in this chain reaction of that positive direction because we begin rewiring our brain. I want to make it very clear that if you have depression or symptoms of depression, there's nothing wrong with you. Like I was saying, it's just some transmitters in your brain that are wired just a little bit differently. The best example I can give you is that I live in Las Vegas. It's hot, it's dry, it's a desert. And then if you were to go to Southern California, which is not too far away, the weather is gorgeous all the time. There's trees, not fake trees, and all this beautiful stuff out there. Las Vegas, we get random flash floods and all these other things. Now, when you compare, Nevada to California, there's nothing wrong with Nevada. It is just a series of different circumstances that has made the weather in Nevada exactly the way it is. Same thing goes for California. Same thing goes for a place like Oklahoma where they got tornadoes happening all the time. There's nothing wrong with Oklahoma. It's just under those circumstances and conditions, they happen to get tornadoes. Same thing with those of us who suffer from depression. Within our brains, there are certain conditions that cause these feelings. Now, what we can begin doing, though, is begin restructuring and changing those conditions to help get us out of those funks. Real talk, if you're watching these videos, I want to be honest with you. At the rewiredsoul.com, I was working on a course for depression. It was going to be about 8 weeks, and I was going to charge about $100 for anybody to take that course, but I decided to just do these videos for free. So the only thing that I ask for you to do is share these videos with somebody that you know who is struggling. That's all I ask for. There are so many of us who get into these funks and we think that there's no way out, but there are scientifically proven methods to get us out of these funks, because the goal in life is just to live a happy life. We have this limited, finite time on this planet. Any time that we sit isolating or in depression or in negative thoughts, we are wasting valuable time. Any moment that we don't spend time with our family, with our friends, with our children, with our parents, all of that is wasted time. So I want you to share these videos with people you know who might be struggling with depression so we can help more people. And also, we'll be decreasing the stigma about mental illness and will help get more people out of that funk. So keep coming back, subscribe to this channel. You can even click on the little bell, which gives you a notification, so that way you get an email whenever I make a new video. Please, in order to help me make these videos, I need you to post in the comments of this video as well as other videos and tell me about your specific symptoms. Tell me about what you're dealing with. Tell me about what you need help with. That'll help me make more videos that cater to you. Like we were talking about, there are certain systems in your brain that are specifically responsible for getting out of certain types of funks. And by you putting comments in this video, I'll be able to better help you out. So make sure that you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to share these videos with people who might be struggling with depression. I will see you next time.